Yes, sir.
All right, so bring the jurors on in.
Jurors are entering courtroom.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Have a seat. We're ready to resume. Mr. Guy, your next witness.
Leland Brunson.
Leland Brunson, please.
Oh, yeah. No, that's not, the only problem I'm gonna have is distance. Yeah. Don't worry about that.
Mr. Brunson, if you'll come right up here to the front for me, please, sir. And if you raise your right hand, the clerk's going to administer an oath to you.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
All right, so if you'll come right around here and have a seat over here for me, the bailiff will show you. And once you're comfortable, just pull that microphone to you, and you can scoot the chair up a little bit if you'd like. Be sure and just speak up loudly into the microphone so we can all hear you, all right?
All right.
All right, thank you. Mr. Guy?
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir. If you'd please tell the members of the jury your name.
My name is Leland Brunson.
You live here in Jacksonville?
Yes.
How old are you?
18.
And on November 23rd of 2012, how old were you?
I was 17.
Are you in school at this time?
Yes.
Where is it that you go to school?
Wilson High School.
And what grade are you in?
Senior.
Are you scheduled to graduate this spring?
Yes.
Were you attending Wilson High School in November of 2012?
Yes.
And who do you live with now?
I love my mom.
Did you know a person named Jordan Davis?
Yes.
Where did you meet Jordan Davis?
At school.
At Wilson?
Yes.
Were you and Jordan Davis in the same grade?
Yes.
And what part of town did you live in November of 2012?
On the south side.
And who did you live with in November of 2012?
My mom.
Where did you live in relation to Jordan Davis? About how far apart?
A block over.
Okay. And in the fall of 2012, how often would you see or talk to Jordan Davis?
Almost every day.
And over the time that you knew Jordan Davis, how would you characterize your relationship with him? That is, were you all friends, best friends, acquaintances, or what?
Best friends.
Do you also know a young man named Tevin Thompson?
Yes.
And did you meet Tevin Thompson before or after you met Jordan Davis?
After.
Do you also know Tommy Storms?
Yes.
And how did you meet Tommy Storms?
Through Tevin.
Tevin Thompson?
Yes.
All right. Out of those three people, Jordan Davis, Tevin Thompson, and Tommy Storms, who were you closest to?
Jordan Davis.
Specifically, let me turn your attention to Friday, November 23rd, 2012. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Did you see Jordan Davis on that day?
Yes.
And where did you see Jordan Davis in the afternoon of November 23rd?
At his house.
Did you go over to his house that afternoon?
Yes.
How did you get there?
My mom dropped me off.
Did you have a car at the time?
No.
Did Jordan Davis have a car?
No.
Do you recall the exact time that you got to Jordan Davis's house that afternoon?
No.
Was it still daylight?
Yes.
All right. And did you and Jordan Davis leave his residence that afternoon or early evening?
Yes.
And where did you go?
To Tevin's house.
And what did you do at Tevin's house, if anything?
Well, we stayed in the car. Tevin, he went upstairs to change.
All right. And when you say we stayed in the car, who are you referring to?
Me, Jordan, and Tommy.
And Tevin Thompson went inside to change clothes?
Yes.
Did he do that?
Yes.
All right. How were the four of you traveling that afternoon?
We were traveling by car.
And whose car?
Tommy's.
What kind of car was it?
A red Durango.
All right. Let me ask you to look at your monitor. Do you see States 43 there?
Yes.
Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Does that appear to be Tommy Storm's red Dodge Durango?
Yes.
All right. And where did the four of you go after you left Tevin Thompson's house?
Went to the town center.
And what was the purpose of going to the town center?
Girl shopping.
Did Jordan Davis see anybody at the town center that he knew? Any girls?
His girlfriend Aaliyah
And where did y'all run into Aaliyah?
at Urban Outfitters.
All right. Do you know her last name?
Harris?
All right. And did the four of you stay together? That is you, Tevin Thompson, Tommy Storns, and Jordan Davis. Did the four of you stay together while you were at the town center?
Yes.
All right. And about how long were the four of you there, approximately?
About an hour or two.
And did the four of you leave the town center together?
Yes.
And did you leave in Tommy Storns' Durango?
Yes.
And where were the four of you going?
We're going to, what's the mall called? The Avenues Mall.
All right. That's also on the south side?
Yes.
All right. Who was driving the Dodge Durango when you left the town center?
Tommy.
And where were you seated?
I was seated behind Tommy.
And where was Jordan Davis seated?
He was seated behind the passenger.
Was Jordan Davis in the back seat?
Yes.
Was he sitting next to you?
Yes.
Okay. And Tevin Thompson, where was he seated?
He was seated in the passenger seat,
Front or back?
front.
Okay. Did the four of you stop anywhere on the way to the Avenues Mall?
Yes.
Where was that?
Gate gas station
And why did y'all stop at the gate?
to get some gum.
Was there any reason y'all wanted to get gum?
Oh, we didn't want our breath to be stinking.
Okay. Which gate did you stop at?
The one on between Southside and Bay Meadows.
And where, relative to the store itself, where did Tommy Storns park the car when you got to the gate gas station?
He parked on the left side of the front door.
Was the Durango facing the store?
Yes.
All right. When Tommy Storns pulled into that parking space, was there anybody on the passenger side of the Dodge Durango?
No.
After Tommy Storns pulled in, did anyone get out of the Dodge Durango?
Nobody got out except Tommy.
All right. And where did Tommy go?
Into the store.
You, Jordan, and Tevin stayed in the car?
Yes.
Was there music playing in the car while the three of you were waiting for Tommy Storns?
Yes.
And what type of music was playing?
Rap.
What was the volume of the music?
It's pretty loud.
And as you all were sitting there at that time, what was Jordan Davis's demeanor like? What was his mood like that afternoon?
Happy.
How about Tevin Thompson?
Happy.
Tommy Storns?
Happy.
And yourself?
Happy.
At some point, while the three of you were sitting there waiting for Tommy Storns to come back, did a car pull into the parking space on the passenger side of the Durango?
Yes.
And did that car park immediately next to the Durango or a space or two over?
It was next to the Durango.
Did anyone get out of that car?
A white blonde lady got out the car.
Okay, and a white female?
Yes.
All right. Did you see where she went?
She went in the store.
Did you ever look at the driver of the car that pulled up next to the Dodge Durango?
Yes.
Could you tell if the driver was male or female?
Male.
Could you tell if that man was white, black, Hispanic, Asian, or what?
White.
While you all were waiting for Tommy Storns, did the driver of that car parked on the passenger side say something to y'all or in your direction?
Yes.
And what was that?
He said, "Can you turn the music down? I can't hear myself think."
And were you looking in the driver's direction when he said that?
Yes.
Did anyone, well, let me ask you this. Do you recall whether or not the driver's window was up or down when he said that?
It was halfway down.
Did anyone turn down the music when he asked you to turn down the music?
Yes.
And who turned it down?
Tevin.
All right. Did Jordan Davis say anything when Tevin Thompson turned down the music?
Yes.
What was that?
He said, "No, turn the music back up."
And who did Jordan Davis say that to?
Tevin.
And What did Tevin Thompson do when Jordan Davis said, turn the music back up?
He turned it up a little bit, but not as loud as it was before.
Did Jordan Davis say anything to the driver of the other car after Tevin Thompson turned the music back up?
Yes.
Did he curse at him?
He was talking to him. He was pointing at him.
Well, all right, and you demonstrated with your right hand.
Yes.
Would the driver have been to Jordan Davis's right side?
Yes.
Okay, do you recall what Jordan Davis was doing with his left hand?
He had it propped up on the back seat.
Okay, like you're demonstrating just
Yes.
like out towards you?
Yes.
Okay. Did Jordan Davis ever put his hand or any object out of the car window?
No.
Did Jordan Davis ever put his hands in the shape of a gun or anything like that?
No.
Did you ever see anything in Jordan Davis's hands when he was talking to the driver?
Yes.
What was that?
Cell phone.
In which hand?
The right hand.
All right. And when, during their exchange, did Jordan Davis have the cell phone in his hand?
Towards in the middle.
And you were sitting next to Jordan Davis the whole time?
Yes.
Did you ever see or hear Tevin Thompson, who was sitting in front of Jordan Davis? Did you ever see Tevin Thompson threaten the defendant in any way?
No.
Did you ever, the driver of the other car? Did you ever
no.
see Tevin Thompson threaten him?
No.
Did you ever threaten the driver of the other car?
No.
Were you aware of any weapons in the Dodge Durango that evening?
No.
Do you recall at any point whether or not Tevin Thompson adjusted Jordan Davis's window?
Yes.
And how did he do that? Did he raise it or lower it or what?
He raised it.
Did he raise it all the way or was there still space left?
Still space.
Can you demonstrate for us with your hands or your fingers about how much space was left?
About this much space.
Okay. And Judge, for the record, I'd say that's about 3 inches.
3 to 4,
Okay.
by my estimate, for whatever that's worth.
Thank you. At some point, did Tommy Storms come out of the gate station and back to the Durango?
Yes.
All right. Did you see or hear Tommy Storms threaten the driver of the other car at any point when he came back to the Dodge Durango?
No.
And were Jordan Davis and the driver of the other car still arguing when Tommy Storms got back in the Dodge Durango?
Yes.
Did you see or hear the driver say anything to Jordan Davis after Tommy Storms got back in the Durango?
Yes.
What was that?
Are you talking to me?
And how could you hear that?
Tevin turned the music down.
When?
When Tommy got back in to let him know what happened.
Did Jordan Davis say anything back to the driver when the driver said, "Are you talking to me?"
Yes.
What did he say?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
And what did you see the driver of the car, or the other car, do when Jordan Davis said, "Yeah, I'm talking to you"?
He reached into his glove compartment.
Did you see what the driver got out of his glove compartment?
Yes.
What was that?
A gun.
And what did the driver do with the gun when he grabbed it from the glove compartment?
He cocked it back.
And show the jury what you mean when you say he cocked it back.
Like, he was holding it and he cocked it back.
Okay. Pull the slide back like?
Yes.
Okay. And for the record, Judge, the witness made a demonstration to that effect.
So reflective.
What did the driver do with the gun after he grabbed it and pulled the slide back?
He aimed it out his window.
And where did he aim it?
Towards Jordan's window.
And what did the driver do with the gun when he aimed it at Jordan's door?
He started firing.
Was there more than one gunshot?
Yes.
What did Tommy Storms do when the driver of the other car started firing into Jordan Davis's door?
He put it in reverse and backed up.
Did he back up?
Yes.
Did the driver continue to fire as Tommy Storms was backing up?
Yes.
And what happened to Jordan Davis as Tommy Storms was backing up? Did he stay sitting up, or did he do something else?
No, I tried to pull him down, but when I pulled him down, he just fell into my lap.
Okay, show the jury what you mean when you say you pulled him down.
Like, I dug down, and I was trying to pull him down as well, away from the shots.
Okay, so you ducked down yourself,
Yes,
and then you pulled Jordan Davis down.
yes,
Did you pull him toward you?
yes,
Did he, and you said he fell toward you?
yes.
After Tommy Storms backed up, what did he do?
He pulled forward into the next part of the plaza.
Was the driver of the car on the passenger side still firing when Tommy Storms drove forward?
Yes,
How did you feel when the driver of the other car was firing at the Durango?
scared.
And you said that Tommy Storms drove the car into a parking lot, an adjacent parking lot. Did he keep going or did he stop?
He stopped.
Do you recall exactly where he stopped?
No,
Did you ever get out of the car when he stopped?
no.
What were you doing when Tommy Storms stopped the Durango in the plaza?
I was checking on Jordan.
How were you checking on Jordan?
I called his name, but he didn't respond, so I checked his body to see if he was hit.
How did you check his body?
Like, I just pat him down in his
And-
upper body.
Did you touch anything that led you to believe he had been shot?
Yes.
What?
When I reached and touched him, blood appeared on my fingers.
When Tommy Storms stopped the Durango in the plaza, do you remember whether anyone got out of the Durango?
Yes.
Okay, who do you recall getting out?
Tevin.
And what did Tevin Thompson do when he got out of the Dodge Durango?
He started yelling Jordan's name.
Did Jordan Davis respond at all when his name was called?
No.
Was Jordan Davis still lying with his head or upper body in your lap?
Yes.
Did Jordan Davis respond physically at all when his name was called? Did he move?
No.
Was Jordan Davis making any sounds?
Yes.
What was that?
He was gasping for air.
And where did y'all go after you were stopped in the plaza?
We returned back to the gate gas station.
All right. And when you say you went back to the gate, did y'all do a 3-point turn? Did you turn the car around? Did you drive around? Did you back up or what?
We backed up.
Tommy Storms was still driving?
Yes.
And as you all are in the plaza and backing up, did your focus ever leave Jordan's condition?
No.
Where did Tommy Storms park or pull into when y'all got back to the gate?
On the left side.
And again, was he facing the store?
Yes.
And you mean to the left side of the front door?
Yes.
And when you all got back to the gate and the car stopped, what were you doing?
I was still checking on Jordan, calling his name.
Did he ever respond?
No.
Did people come over to the Durango to offer help?
Yes.
And did those people include a uniformed officer and a civilian?
Yes.
And did those people give you any instructions?
Yes.
What did they ask you or tell you to do?
They told me to get out the car.
Did you do that?
Yes.
And what door did you use to get out?
My door.
Where was Jordan Davis?
the rearview mirror rattle in a car?
Yes.
Have you ever been in a situation where you're in a separate car and it may rattle that separate car?
Yes.
All right. And was the music that loud that night?
Yes.
It was actually rattling stuff inside Tommy Storm's truck, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And after that, Mr. Dunn never said another word to you guys in terms of the music. Didn't yell at you, didn't curse at you, nothing, correct?
No.
All he said was thank you. Window was up, right?
Yes.
And matter of fact, he didn't have tinted windows, does he?
No.
And Tommy Storm's truck had tinted windows. Is that correct? Do you know if it had tinted windows?
I'm not sure, no.
All right. And matter of fact, you've only been in that truck one other time than that night, correct?
Yes.
You only knew Tommy Storms for less than a month, isn't that true?
Yes.
And matter of fact, you met Tommy through who?
Tevin.
And how long have you been friends with Tevin?
For about the start of that school year.
Just that year?
Yes.
In 2012?
Yes.
School starts in late August in Jacksonville?
Yes.
So we're talking maybe 3 months at the most.
Yes.
All right. And you don't own a car?
No.
Right. Mr. Davis, Jordan Davis doesn't own a car?
No.
And you're relying on Tommy to drive you around in this truck?
Yes.
All right. And isn't it true you told detectives several days after your interview, that was the first time you told them that Jordan Davis tried to get out of the vehicle?
Yes.
Why didn't you tell the police that night that Jordan Davis tried to get out of that truck?
They didn't ask.
But didn't they ask you what happened?
Yes, they asked me what happened.
And are you saying that Jordan never ducked? Isn't that true?
No.
It's not true?
He did try to duck, but he wasn't moving quick enough. I guess he was shocked.
Well, let me ask you this. You tried to pull him down, correct?
Right.
And isn't it true you said that he must have been in shock and he didn't duck?
Right.
Right, so that part is true.
Right.
And then that's when the shots went off.
Yes.
And you're now telling the jury that he tried to grab the door handle in the middle of this conversation, correct?
Yes.
And actually, isn't it true Mr. Dunn never raised his voice to Jordan Davis, did he?
Right.
That's true?
Yes.
Okay. Never cursed at him? Never threatened him, right?
Right.
All right. Never tried to get out of his car to fight Mr. Davis, did he?
No.
All right. And in fact, isn't it true Mr. Davis was the one, Jordan was yelling and cursing at him?
Yes.
And isn't it true that the music was so loud that you couldn't hear everything that was being said?
All right.
All right. And again, sitting in your chair right there, let's just, Judge, permission to move your arm?
Within reason.
Just here, Judge. Let's just assume you're sitting right now in the backseat of that Durango. Immediately to your right, right next to you, would be Jordan Davis, correct?
Yes.
And even sitting that close, the music was so loud, you're saying you couldn't hear what your best friend was saying.
Right.
And you have no idea what he said to Mr. Dunn other than what you've testified to the jury.
Right.
But you do admit there was more conversation and more yelling by Mr. Davis. Isn't that true?
Yes, but they were both going back and forth.
All right, but didn't you just say a minute ago my client never raised his voice or cursed or yelled at Jordan Davis?
Right. But
Right.
that was before the music was turned back up.
Okay, so then tell me, after the music goes back up, you're so close to Jordan Davis you can't hear him. Please tell me what you could hear Mr. Dunn say from another vehicle.
I couldn't hear what he said.
That's my point. So you have no idea what's being said, right?
Right.
So you can't testify that Jordan Davis didn't threaten Mr. Dunn. Is that true?
Right.
But your testimony is he only tried to get out of the car in the middle of it. Is that true?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Davis, again, is your best friend.
Yes.
You were upset that night.
Yes.
When you found out your best friend died, you were even more upset. That's fair to say.
Yes.
You're still upset as you sit here today.
Yes.
You obviously miss your friend, don't you?
Yes.
You don't want to see your friend's memory go in vain, do you?
No.
Now, isn't it true you also said that it was so cold that evening that the heat was on and all the windows were up?
Jordan's window was halfway down.
Isn't it true, though, when you were driving around, all the windows were up? Is that true? Isn't that what you said?
In the deposition, yes, that's what I said.
All right. And now today you're saying something different. You're saying that his window was halfway down or a few inches down, right?
Right.
Now, isn't it true you told police that night that Jordan said, and you heard him say this, I'm tired of people telling me what to do.
Right.
Right? That's true?
Yes.
That's not Mr. Dunn's words, right? That was your best friend's words.
Yes.
And that's before he started cursing and yelling at Mr. Dunn.
Yes.
And would you agree that the more Jordan yelled, my client didn't react, he got even more mad?
You mean, you said Jordan?
Jordan got more mad.
Yes.
And as time kept going, it was escalating, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you know that because Jordan's your best friend.
Yes.
You've been around him enough to know how he would act.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Has anyone ever told you to turn your radio down before?
But I don't own a car, so.
Sustain.
Have you ever been there when someone asked Jordan Davis to turn the music down before?
No.
All right. So you don't know how he would react in that situation.
Right.
Have you ever seen him act like that before?
Yes.
Now, when you went to the homicide office, the detectives actually had your mom show up. Is that correct?
Yes.
They thought it was a good idea for her to be there for you. Is that correct?
Yes.
You didn't call her, did you?
No.
All right. Now, let me ask you this. Talking about cell phones. Isn't it true you said that your cell phone died about 7 o'clock that night?
Yes.
And let me ask you this. When you're in that plaza and your best friend now is gasping for air, do you not ask somebody to call 911?
Yes.
Who do you ask to call 911?
Tevin.
And that's at the plaza, not at the gate gas station. We're talking about in the plaza when you guys drove a football field away. Did you ask someone to call 911?
It wasn't a football field away.
All right, how far do you think you traveled?
I don't know the estimate of the distance, but
Did you guys drive away from the gate gas station?
yes.
Did you go to another plaza?
Not another plaza. It was in the same plaza.
Different parking lots, though.
Yes.
All right? And again, were you safe there?
Yes.
All right? Mr. Dunn didn't follow you guys, right?
No.
He wasn't trying to chase you down.
No.
He wasn't trying to come up behind you and shoot more bullets into the truck, right?
No.
All right? Matter of fact, you never saw him again, did you?
No.
All right. And again, now you're at this plaza or another parking lot. Do you ask anybody to call 911?
Yes.
Who?
Tevin.
And did Tevin Thompson call 911 from that plaza? Not the gate parking lot, the plaza where the restaurants are.
No, we just rushed back to the gate gas station. Then he called for 911.
All right. Now let me ask you this. So even though you asked him to call 911, he didn't do it, did he?
No, I guess he didn't hear me because we were still checking on Jordan.
All right. Didn't you say when you stopped, people were screaming, somebody was screaming when you guys stopped and you realized Jordan wasn't breathing?
No.
Well, let me ask you this. Was that not shocking to you?
What was not shocking to me?
That your best friend is not breathing. He's gasping for air.
Yes.
Don't you think somebody should have called 911?
Yes.
Did you reach for your cell phone to call 911?
No, because he was on my lap. I couldn't get in my pocket.
All right. And isn't it true that Tommy Storns came and opened your door and started reaching inside the car?
No.
Do you recall that?
No.
So it never happened.
No.
And isn't it true that Tevin Thompson came and opened up the back door and started reaching inside that truck?
No, he just opened the car and just was yelling Jordan's name.
So he was yelling.
Yes.
So Tevin was yelling Jordan, right? And
Yes.
nobody did anything.
No, we just went back to the gate gas station to get help.
All right. And you only knew Tevin since school started, right?
Yes.
And we're talking 3 months?
Yes.
And Tevin only knew Jordan Davis for that same amount of time, correct?
No.
How long did Tevin know Jordan?
I don't know.
And again, you're saying Tevin is screaming for Jordan, but doesn't call 911.
Right.
And you're saying he never opened the door where Jordan Davis was and started reaching into that truck.
No.
Now, are you focused on Tommy and Tevin, or are you focused on Jordan?
I was focused on Jordan.
So things could have happened around that truck that either you don't remember. Is that fair?
Yes.
Things could have happened that you just didn't see. Is that fair?
Yes.
And things were said that you didn't hear. Is that fair?
Yes.
Now, when Tommy got back into the car, you never told Tommy that you saw a gun, did you? Isn't
Yeah.
it true that when Tommy got back in the car at the gas station before y'all drove away, you never told him you saw a gun?
No, I didn't say I seen the gun, no.
Right. You just told Tommy, hey, let's get out of here, right?
Yes.
And that was when Jordan was reaching for the door, right?
No.
And you've only been in that truck one other time than that night, or was that your first night in that truck?
No, one other time.
So that was the second time you've ever been in that truck, correct?
Yes.
So you don't know what Tommy may have had or had in there. Is that true?
Yes.
Now, you also tell police, not once, but twice, that there was no weapons at all inside that vehicle, correct?
Right.
Any weapon of any kind, isn't that true?
Right.
And isn't it true your best friend had a Smith & Wesson knife in his pocket?
I didn't know he had that in his pocket.
And this is your best friend.
Yes.
Did you know him to carry a weapon?
No.
And you do admit that you tried to pull Jordan down. Those were your words, correct?
Yes.
And you're telling this jury that he, if I can rearrange myself again, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
You're telling this jury that when you tried to pull him down, he's still sitting straight like you are.
Yes.
Right? His left arm is up on the seat,
Yes.
and he's yelling at Mr. Dunn with his right hand,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So even when Mr. Dunn pulls that slide back, and you go to duck down, right? You said that's when you duck down?
No, I started ducking down when he started firing.
All right, so even when he pulls the slide back, you don't duck down.
No, that's when I informed Tommy, let's get out of here.
And you don't even tell Tommy he's got a gun, right?
Everybody was looking towards Jordan, so no, I didn't say that.
Well, I'm asking you. You never told Tommy you saw a gun, correct?
Right.
You just assumed maybe he saw it then.
No, I didn't assume.
All right, you just said, let's get out of here, never mentioned a gun.
Right.
And then Mr. Dunn then just turns back and fires, is that correct?
Yes.
It happens pretty quick, didn't it?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, it happened so fast that the first shots go off before Tommy's in reverse, isn't that true?
Yes.
And then as Tommy's in reverse, they're still shooting, a couple more shots, true?
Yes.
All right. And in fact, when you drive away, you're still ducked down, true?
Yes.
Your head's down?
Yes.
And Jordan Davis's head is not down, isn't that true?
When we drove off, he fell into my lap.
Driving off straight, correct?
Yes.
Now let me ask you this. When Mr. Storns backed up, you're right side by side with the defendant's vehicle, correct? Is
Yes.
that true? And Mr. Storns backed up and curved to leave the plaza, isn't that true?
Yes.
So now, that red SUV is directly behind Mr. Dunn's vehicle, is it not?
Yes.
And Mr. Dunn would still be facing straight. You'd see the back of his head.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Was Mr. Dunn wearing a baseball hat?
No.
Was he wearing any kind of black thing on his head? Anything on his head?
No.
Nothing, right? You could see his hair just like today?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you're behind him and you reverse out, you can still see him, correct?
Yes.
All right. And you're still high up in a Durango and you can see down into the Jetta, can you not?
Yes.
And then as you're behind him, Mr. Storns drives straight out of the gate plaza, doesn't he?
Yes.
All right. And it was soon right after that moment, or do you even recall if any more shots were fired into the back of that SUV?
When he was pulling out?
Yes.
Yes.
And it was relatively quickly. As soon as Tommy went to pull out, bang, 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 correct?
Yes.
And then as you guys drove out of the gate parking lot, no more shots were fired, were there?
No.
As you guys crossed that alley and that entrance into the plaza, no more shots were fired, were they?
No.
As you guys drove all the way through the parking lot to where Tommy finally stopped, no more shots were fired, were they?
No.
As a matter of fact, did you even know that Tevin claims to see Mr. Dunn drive away?
Sustained.
Did you have any knowledge that Mr. Dunn drove by your vehicle on the street?
No.
All right. Were you worried about Mr. Dunn chasing you down?
No.
All right. And in fact, you would have told Tommy, don't go back to the gate gas station because you thought your life would be in danger if that was true, correct?
Right.
And you didn't do that.
No.
Now, when they get out of the car, when you get to the gas station, Tevin and Tommy jump out, correct?
No.
What happens when he pulls back into the gate gas station? Tell me what happens.
Tevin gets out and he asks a lady, can you call 911?
All right, and you could hear that.
Yes.
Now, that's not Tommy, that's Tevin.
Yes.
All right, because I don't want to get it confused. Tevin Thompson is the front passenger, correct?
Yes.
He gets out of the truck,
Yeah.
goes to the lady next to him.
No, well, she was coming up to us.
Okay, so she was even out of her vehicle now.
Yes.
And then he asked her to call 911.
Yes.
All right, and where's Tommy?
He was in the car. He was checking the car and see where it was shot at.
All right, so he got out of the car.
Yes.
All right, and at that point, isn't it true you lost sight of Tommy Storns and Tevin Thompson? You weren't focused on them. You were focused on Jordan Davis in your lap, correct?
Yes, but they didn't leave go behind the car. They just stood right there in front of their doors.
All right, so you're saying, let me get this straight, when Tevin and Tommy get out of the truck, they stand right in front of the SUV where you can see them?
Yes, they stand.
And did
on
they
this-
stand there the whole time until they had you get out of the car?
Yes.
So Tommy never walked off by the bushes or on the side of the gate gas station?
Not until the police told us to go to his cop car.
All right, so they stood there the whole time, and then they walked right over to an officer's vehicle and stood there with you. Is that correct?
Yes.
So what you're saying is Tommy Storms and Tevin never moved until you got out of that car and all three of you walked together?
Yes.
And again, even when the shooting goes on, Jordan Davis is still facing straight in that seat like you're sitting today. Isn't that true?
Can you repeat the question?
When the shots first ring out, Jordan Davis is still sitting in his seat next to you just like you are right now. Body straight, feet straight. Isn't that true?
Yes.
He never even leaned over until you're saying you guys pulled out, correct?
Yes.
You also told police that you saw a gold pistol. Isn't that true?
The tip of it looked at gold to me.
Now, obviously, Mr. Davis was your best friend and died, and you were shaken up, correct?
Yes.
You were shaken up for days. Is that fair?
Yes.
Isn't it true that after this happened, you met with Tevin Thompson and Tommy Storms and talked about what happened several times, didn't you?
No.
You're saying that you didn't go to Mr. Ron Davis's house and talk about this a day or two later?
No. I didn't want to bring it up to him.
Judge, if I just may have a moment.
All right.
And you do admit that you talked to Tevin and Tommy with Mr. Davis, correct?
We did meet up, but we didn't discuss what happened.
All right. And then in between that, it was 4 days later that the police re-interviewed you, correct?
Yes.
And that was the first time you ever told police that, in fact, Jordan Davis did reach for that door handle, correct?
Yes.
And isn't it true you also tried to tell the police that the safety, the child locks were on, right?
Yes.
Now, is child locks for the door or child locks for the window? What's your definition of the child locks on?
The child locks were on the door and the window.
So you're saying you can't get out of that car because the child locks were engaged. Is that fair?
Right.
And you're saying that was that night?
Yes.
All right. And is it your testimony that that's why Jordan Davis couldn't get out of the vehicle?
Right.
And you only been in that car one other time than that night?
Yes.
Same thing with Jordan Davis?
Yes.
Now, your mom was with you for both discussions. They were with you the night at the homicide office, and your mom was with you 4 days later again at the homicide office, true?
Yes.
Now, were you in a room where there was a video camera where they could record you?
No.
Okay. And did they ever ask to record you?
No.
Did they ever ask to take a written statement?
No.
Did you provide any sworn statement to the state attorney's office or the police?
What do you mean?
Did they, like today, you took an oath to tell the truth, correct?
Yes.
And in your deposition, you took an oath to tell the truth, correct?
Yes.
Did an officer or a prosecutor ever put you under oath and take your statement about what happened that night?
I don't recall. I'm not sure.
Okay. And do you recognize this lady up here as Miss Wolfson?
Yes.
Have you seen her before?
Yes.
She was there that night at the homicide office, wasn't she? November 23rd, that night.
No.
She wasn't there.
No.
How long were you there? When did you get to the homicide office and when did you leave?
I don't know the actual time.
It was sometime after midnight though, correct?
You mean the night of the shooting?
Yes.
Yes.
What time did you leave the homicide office?
Pretty late, probably midnight, 1.
That's when you left, correct?
Yes.
And again, they never even took a recorded statement with like one of those little tape recorders, correct?
No.
Never asked you to write anything down.
No.
How long did you meet with them?
I don't know the approximate time.
Well, let me ask you this. When they asked you to tell your story of what happened, was it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour?
I don't know.
Well, give me an estimation. You've been on the stand a pretty long time today. Was it longer than that or less than that?
I couldn't give you approximate time. It's a lot of things going through my mind that night.
Right. And that was because of what you had been through.
Yes.
And you were in the same mental state just as you were at the gate gas station.
Yes.
And you admit seeing this all over the news, isn't that true?
Yes.
And you've actually listened to reports and seen it, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's even prior to you taking a deposition, true?
No, this is before I took my deposition.
That's what I said. Prior to your deposition,
Yes.
you watch news reports about this, right?
Yes.
And you've had friends and family talk about this, correct?
Yes.
And that includes going to Mr. Ron Davis's house just a couple days later, correct?
No, we didn't talk about it at his house.
Judge, if I just may have a moment.
Yes, sir.
And you indicate that you saw a blonde lady get out of the vehicle, is that correct?
Yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Guy?
Mr. Brunson,
Yes.
do you love Jordan Davis?
Yes.
Are you lying for Jordan Davis?
No.
Are you lying for Jordan Davis's family?
No.
When you went over to, he referred to a man as Ron Davis. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
Who is that?
That's Jordan's father.
Did you go over to his house
Yes.
after Jordan Davis was shot and killed?
Yes.
And was Tommy Storns there at some point?
No.
Was Tevin Thompson there?
Yes.
Did you and Tevin Thompson and Ron Davis get together and conspire to make up some story?
No.
Any tears over at Mr. Davis's house?
Yes.
Lots of them.
Yes.
Any hugs over at Ron Davis's house?
Yes.
Lots of them.
Yes.
You were asked about where your attention was after the shooting on cross-examination, and I think you said your attention was on Jordan Davis.
Yes.
Was it pretty much on Jordan Davis from the time the shot started and he fell into your lap until you got out of the car?
Yes.
Even after you got out of the car?
Yes.
And you were upset?
Yes.
Even in that state, if someone would have picked up something like a shotgun from the car and taken it out, do you think you'd remember that?
Yes.
Did anybody do that? Did anybody pick up a shotgun from inside the car and take it out?
No.
Did anybody pick up anything, to your knowledge, from that car and take it out other than the body of Jordan Davis?
No.
You were asked questions about Tommy Storns and riding around with him. You hadn't known him that long. My question to you is this. You had met Tommy Storns before that night?
Yes.
Did you have any concerns about him? I mean, was he the kind of guy you're like, I ain't getting in a car with this guy?
No.
He was a friend of Tevin Thompson's?
Yes.
And Tevin Thompson was a friend of Jordan's?
Yes.
You were asked a question about the gun that you saw. When you saw that gun, did you sit there and kind of focus on it and you know, try to memorize, you know, the size of it and the shape of it and the color of it?
No, I didn't.
But to you, it looked like it had a gold tip.
Yes.
You were asked about the child locks on the doors being on that night. How do you know that?
When we got to the town center, we couldn't get out the car unless Tommy or Tevin come open the car.
You were asked about your mom. You said that your mom was present on the night of the 23rd and the morning of the 24th when you were interviewed at the police station.
Yes.
And you were asked about when you subsequently went down to the police station, your mom was present again.
Yes.
Did your mom tell you to lie to the police?
No.
Judge, if I can have just one moment.
Yes, sir.
You were asked about telling the police in your second interview that Jordan Davis had put his hand on the car door handle. Did they ask you that the first night they spoke to you?
No.
Nothing further.
May he be excused? Mr. Guy? Mr. Stroller?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.